On this episode of the Procedurally Generated Show, Ethan revisits a NewGrounds classic, Cole does more Destiny, and Tony plays some baseball. We look back on our predictions from last year, look forward to the year ahead, and are joined by special guest Jeff Brown from Just One More Level. Howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Procedurally Generated Show. I'm your host, Tony, and joining me this week, I've got Ethan.
Hey, Tony.
Will I ever be able to do an intro on the first take again?
Not since Cole joined us.
That's your first prediction of the year. Can it happen? The answer is probably no. No, since Cole joined us, I haven't gotten through an intro. So there's more to read now than there used to be.
You've gotten lazy. We need to get you back up into shape, man.
I know. It's crazy. Well, what's going on, Cole, since we've already thrown you under the bus here?
Oh, we went and beat some guys, and then we lost some guys. That's about it.
Yeah. We played some Monster Hunter, and then the monsters played us.
Yes. They carved us up like Thanksgiving dinner.
Not me, though. I was really good.
That's true. You died about as many times as I got the monsters killed.
So yeah, it was interesting. I definitely want to go back. We played the Monster Hunter demo for the pre-show, and we successfully did one quest, unsuccessfully did another. I want to go back and do that one again at some point. And once I get used to the controls of Monster Hunter again, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, I'm going back to Longsword.
So
it's amazing how much information carried over from Monster Hunter World, yet is almost completely useless.
Yeah, I imagine it is a little different for you guys having put a lot of time into Monster Hunter World, whereas I haven't. So I'm not as used to that game as maybe you guys are.
Yeah, but we've taken a pretty big break on it, so it's still getting warmed back up into it. I'm sure it'll translate somehow.
Nah. I need to do some fine adjusting to the controls, but it'll be fine eventually.
Yeah.
So, but also joining us this week, we have a special guest. He is from the website, Facebook group. He'll have to explain a little bit. Just One More Level. His name's Jeff Brown. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, and that's a pretty good summary. But yeah.
I know you do a little bit of it all, but I know you mostly from seeing posts on Facebook. So it's just in my head that it's a Facebook group more than it is anything else.
Yeah, definitely relying more on the Facebook side to get content out. It's just an easy way to interact and just talk with people.
Yeah. It's pretty much the only reason I have Facebook anymore is for the procedurally generated group. So, but we've got a lot of stuff this week to talk about. So, Jeff, you get to go first. What game have you been playing that you want to tell everybody about?
Well, a game that I'm playing that I think needs a little bit more of a spotlight on it is Yakuza Like a Dragon.
Nice.
A game that just is not afraid to showcase that it is it's a video game. It has. I love Ichiban. He's a great protagonist, a character that's just so endearing. He's just goofy and silly, and he believes the world is like Dragon Quest, and
that's got my attention.
It's an RPG. It's got a kart racer in it. It has a business simulation. You're running around as a superhero. It has everything in it, and it's just so much fun to play. As a matter of fact, it was my game of the year for 2020 on Just One More Level. Just absolutely, I love the fact that it knows it's a game. It's not afraid to be a game, and it's just fun. It's silly. It's enjoyable. The story's great. Combat. I feel like the combat is exactly what the Final Fantasy VII remake should have been, as far as like a modern take on a turn-based combat system. But yeah, it's phenomenal.
Yeah, I know we're all really familiar with the Yakuza franchise around here. Micah was, the champion of that series for a long time on the show. I haven't played Like a Dragon yet. I'm trying to get through the other ones right now. I'm up to three, and I want to make sure I'm playing them in order before I get to that one. The thing I was worried about when it first was announced was how are they going to do a Yakuza game without Kazuma as the main character? It's going to be just weird playing a game with him not under your control. And it sounds like they've not necessarily thrown the entire Yakuza formula out the window, but it sounds like they've definitely said this is something very different from what you've played,
Yeah,
but Yakuza fans are still going to like it.
yeah, and that's it. It definitely. If you've played the other Yakuza games, there's little references here and there, but it's a great game that, even if you don't have the experience of playing the first uh, six or so titles, um, you can like dive right in because brand new cast, brand new story. But if you have played the other games, there are some references that like flesh out the backstory and just
Cool.
the game and the world that they've created.
Is it all part of the same world? Is it still in the same timeline as the Yakuza series before, or is it like Final Fantasy where it's Yakuza in name, but it's a separate thing?
It's kind of its own thing. Um, that's there's not. I mean, outside of like referencing the like clans and groups and that kind of stuff, it really doesn't. As far as from what I can tell, it doesn't necessarily um, like reference too heavily on the or lean too heavily on the previous games. Um, so it's definitely a good like standalone story.
Okay. Interesting. And the other thing that I'm really curious about is exactly, can you describe a little bit more of like what the combat is? Because I know it's not the action stuff from the Yakuza series in the past.
Yeah. So it is a straight up turn-based
Okay.
RPG. Um, the there is a little bit of wonkiness as far as the combat goes because but essentially all of the characters can kind of react to the environment. So if the characters are moving around and they just happen to get close to let's say like a bicycle or something,
Mhm.
and you go to attack an enemy, they'll grab the bicycle first and they'll hit the enemy with it, and then they'll
Nice.
do their actual action. Um, but there's no like direct control of moving the characters around once the battle starts off.
Mhm.
Um, the amazing thing, and it's kind of a humorous thing that they reference in the game, is that it features transitions in and out of battle, kind of like the old, 90s and early 2000s RPGs that had like the transition screen and then you go
Yeah.
into the battle. Um, so the transition screen for Like a Dragon is just the baddies that you're fighting and even your characters. They go kind of through a transition where they're putting on like their battle gear and where the baddies are changing into these crazy looking uh, you know humans. I mean people. They're not like turning into like dragons or lizards or fish or anything like that. But and then after the battle, they transition back to their normal attire. And like one of the first couple of battles, Ichiban, that the main character, uh, he's like doing this pose, and the other party members are just, what are you doing? And she's like, oh well, I mean, we just won the battle, and didn't you see what we just fought against? Like, didn't you see the eyes? Um, it, no, what are you talking about? So it just it the battles, like I said, they're true like turn based. They do kind of do some interactions with the environment if the characters get close. to something that's interactable, which is kind of similar to the actual like action Yakuza games. Spells and stuff. There's all kinds of skills that you unlock as you level up the not only the character but the job. There's a temp agency where you can unlock new jobs for the characters. So like you can actually go to this like job agency and talk to someone, and they'll, all right, well here's a job as being a chef, and you can unlock being a chef as a playable class.
Nice.
So
it definitely sounds like it is just straight up an RPG. Like it's pulled the
yeah,
job system from like the Dragon Quest series, which is,
yeah.
a thing that
Um,
it's had for years.
Insane weapons and all kinds of stuff like that. It's phenomenal. There's each character has like a bond level. So the more that you talk with characters, the more you interact with those characters, the higher their I guess affection with Ichiban goes. And even if they're not in your main party, the higher their bond level, the more experience they get, even if they're not in the active party.
Oh, nice.
So yeah, it's phenomenal. I think everyone should definitely check it out.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those that's been on my radar. I really want to get through the rest of the Yakuza series. I have it all. I just haven't had a chance to play them all yet.
And another thing that I really like about it, like I said, it's silly, it's dorky, it knows it's a video game. It has summons in the game as well, and it kind of makes fun of like food delivery services. Because Ichiban has a cell phone that he doesn't really know how to use because he just got out of prison, like after being in prison for 20 years, and the world has completely changed. But there's an app that's on his phone called Pound Mates, and it allows him to call various people or things that you unlock throughout the game. And the first delivery is free, but then
Of course.
it costs in-game yen to use them again after that. But yeah, it's such an insane, just phenomenal game.
Well, it's definitely it's just from hearing you talk about it like that, it's definitely one I'm gonna have to maybe put a little more priority in getting, especially because I don't have to have now knowing that I don't have to have finished the other Yakuza games to play this one.
Yeah, it that's I was kind of wondering how they were going to handle it, and but yeah, it's definitely a standalone title that you will get more of an experience out of it from playing the other Yakuza games, but it is a really good like solo set piece.
Okay. So is this going to be what they do with the Yakuza series going forward? Are you expecting more like this?
Uh, I mean, I personally I hope so. I'm an RPG fanatic,
Yeah.
and that's actually what really threw it to the top of my list for 2020 to check out. Um, I personally hope so, but there's still a lot of fondness for the uh, original like action
Just go around beating up
genre
thugs and
that they
Camarocho and all that.
yeah. But like I said, personally, I hope that they do more with the RPG genre with it. But I mean, it's a great franchise all the way around.
Well, nice. All right. Was there anything else
Uh,
about that you want to
I
mention?
mean, just definitely, hopefully more people check it out because I would love to see them do more with the Yakuza series and especially in an RPG format.
Yeah, I
So
think the
go check it out.
Yakuza. I think the Yakuza series has definitely sort of risen in popularity over the last few years.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, Cole, what about you? What have you been playing this week?
More than ever, I've been playing Destiny 2. That's my go-to.
Yeah.
This week in Destiny 2, they have a rotating challenge in the most current raid. So this one was the 4 core challenge, which is the final boss has these cores you have to drop in order to take him to a damage phase, and the strategy is to drop all 4 at the same time. That's kind of become the standard way of doing this portion of the raid. So
the challenge is now the standard?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, it's kind of like well, I mean, if you want to do it the legit way or the other way, what you're supposed to do is the scanner sees what 2 places the bomb need to be deposited.
Yeah.
And then you drop 2 of the bombs, and then you piggyback teams getting to the specific areas that they need to be, and you do that twice. And then you have a much shorter damage phase. Whereas the way the new standard is, you drop all 4 at the same time. Everyone grabs and goes to every location except for where the boss is at. And then when you dunk them, you get the damage phase is like 2.5 times as long. So the reason everyone's doing this raid this week is because the challenge gives you an extra chest, which means an extra chance at rewards, and the final boss encounter is where the exotic rocket launcher has a chance of dropping. So everybody's winning that extra 3 chances of getting the rocket launcher. I managed to do the raid a total of 3. I did it 6 times this week. You can only get rewards for the first 3. But I did it at least 6 times in the last 2 days. And no luck. But I still really enjoy it. I've done all the triumphs for the title on the raid, except for I don't have the collections because I don't have the rocket launcher, or the I haven't done the flawless one, which is what you need for the shader. So really enjoying this raid. It's fairly easy to teach people how to do it. It's pretty fun. It's got good lore in it and stuff. I've been running with mostly LFG, which is looking for group, if you're not aware of what that is. But it's a bunch of strangers, and I have really good luck with LFG. I know a lot of people have hard times with that, but I have a really good time just getting into the community and dealing with lots of random people and seeing how they do stuff. So yeah, I've been enjoying Destiny 2. I started playing some Skyrim, but that's something else.
Yeah.
I'm focused on my favorite game right now, so.
I saw what you've been doing something else on Twitch this week too. What was it? It's Skyrim, right? The hour of Skyrim a day. Is that what it is? Okay.
So Skyrim Hour. I saw that the repolished version is available on Game Pass, and I've never beaten the game because my save file always gets corrupted. So I decided that I would do a pseudo speed run of Skyrim, where I only play for an hour each day, stream it, and then I go back to Destiny.
Okay.
It was like first stream, I got through the tutorial and got to the first city, and then second time I had a lot of technical issues, but I ended up getting to the first dungeon area and got about halfway through the dungeon.
Cool.
So it's been fun.
What kind of class are you building on there?
So
Stealth Archer?
No. Are you watching me? That's usually what I am.
That's what everyone falls into is Stealth Archer.
Because stealth does so much damage.
And then if you're Archer, you're ranged, and so the damage gets even more ridiculous there.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to go the way of the warrior, so I've gotten two-handed and one-handed up pretty well. Heavy armor's increased too. I'm gonna work on smithing so that way I can get some mithril armor and stuff like that.
So when are you gonna turn to a Stealth Archer?
Yeah. No.
Give it 3 more episodes.
Yeah, we'll see.
I'll never be a Stealth Archer.
No,
the trick is everyone becomes Stealth Archer.
Yeah, Stealth means 2 times the damage, which can be pretty hard. And then there's actually insta kills with daggers. You can get it's 4 times damage, but they also
it's 3 times damage back attacks with the daggers, and then you stack that with your times 2 in stealth, so then that becomes times 6.
Yeah.
It's like, well, let's just buff this little knife here with even more damage. Okay, now they're dead.
That's kind of what I want to get into, because I'm gonna have smithing. I I'll splash in enchanting so that way I can do those ridiculous stacks where you smith and then you enchant and then you repeat. So
Do
that
it
way
all,
you get
man. Do it all.
jack of all trades,
Master of none.
master of none. But yeah, so that's what I've been playing this week.
Okay.
Nice.
Well, what about you, Ethan? I see something on this list that I have never seen from you before.
I don't know why everyone's surprised by this game on my list.
I have no idea what this game actually is. So,
The game in question is the Henry Stickmin Collection. That's S-T-I-C-K.
Got him.
How do you spell this game? Where did the show notes go? Okay, Stickmin. So Stickmin, M-I-N.
like Pikmin, but with
Yeah,
a stick.
yeah, there you go. This is a kind of a NewGrounds classic, and since Flash is no longer a thing, the developer decided to port this over to making it an actual game and selling it on Steam. It's the same developer that made Among Us,
Okay.
and there's like references back and forth between both those games, so that's pretty nice. In fact, that new update for Among Us, where it's going to have the new map in there, that level is based off of that originally appeared in this game, in the Henry Stickmin stuff.
Okay.
The Top Hat airship, I think. Yeah, Top Hat airship. But this is basically just a point and click QTE game, I guess you can call it.
Okay.
And it's just
Bless you.
bless you. It's basically just QTEs the entire time, and just what's the results going to be? Like, is this going to be your pass or fail? Does this put you on a different path? What happens? And a lot of it's just funny results. So,
Yeah. So like Dragon's Lair.
yeah, kinda,
Okay.
Basically.
pretty much. It's like you'll be in a hallway, and it's like you need to get through a door, and it's like, all right, well, we can punch the door, we can try opening the door, or we can use this teleporter to go through the door. And it's like, or you can just, or if you're on a certain type of event where you have a timer, it's like do nothing and see if that works. So it's kind of a experiment with stuff, and if you get fails, you just retry that current location until you get a pass and keep going, and then later on you can come back and try other things you didn't try as well.
Okay.
I'm not really doing it much justice on there. The entire game is really comedic about things on there, especially when it comes to Henry and Charlie. It's just whenever you have him in your as your partner in various situations, it's just call for him. Like, if you ever have the option for him to help, it's like, yeah, you want him to come help you, because you're going to be treated with something hilarious every time.
Yeah, it's really funny, and it's don't expect not to fail, because
Expect fail all the time. It's worth it.
yeah, you're like, do I open the door or do I pet this dog? Like, well, obviously, if you want to go through the door, you go through you just open the door. It's like, no,
No.
not at all.
Never take the easiest route, is what you're saying.
Yes, very much.
That's what they want you to think, and then it's like, all right, take the easiest route sometimes.
Exactly.
Even the fail screens have little comments on there. It's like, okay, well, that didn't work, or that's dumb. Why did you do that? And it's like, okay, well, and then you do like the obvious thing, and then that doesn't work. It's just like, yeah, the obvious thing's not going to work. What are you? It's kind of punishes you for being obvious about what to do on there sometimes.
Yeah. And there's never any real way to know which one you're supposed to choose.
No, there really isn't. Like with the teleporter thing, it's like, okay, this is gonna work, or it's not, and then you get to the next. This is like a 6-game collection over all the NewGrounds stuff that there was with it. So it's like you get the teleporter in like each game, and it's like, Do I use it this time or do I not? Is it gonna work?
Okay. How
And
much is it on Steam?
that's a
know?
I know a way to find out. Henry stick. It's $15.
Okay.
Bad.
The
That's not
story
bad.
of Henry Bishop. What is that?
Oh no, I've just made Ethan discover a game he wants to buy.
Well, also Jackbox Party Pack 7's on Steam.
Oh.
The
There's a
rabbit
couple
hole
good games
begins.
on that.
Yeah, it's $30.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever thought the Jackbox games were really worth what, like $30. I think they're more like $15 to $20 games myself. But
Well, yeah, like if you have a bunch of friends that you could play it with
yeah,
constantly, I could see it being worth the 30. When it's just like, yeah, let's play it with a couple of friends or the family tonight.
yeah, like I have
Yeah.
I have all the Jackbox games because I play them anytime my family comes into town. Um,
And
so
it's definitely better just to get the collection than to buy the individual games,
yeah.
not just price ways.
So, or is there anything else about Henry Stickmin?
There's not much I can say without spoiling like various results. In fact, the video footage playing is going to be a little bit spoilery, so enjoy that.
Spoiler alert! Oh, too late. They've already seen it.
But aside from playing it, I'm actually going through and also trying to get 100% clear on stuff on there, just because there's so many fun little secrets in there that are just
Yeah.
secrets, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, that's it for me. What about you, Tony?
Well, I thought playing today that I had finished River City Girls, and I mean like finished River City Girls.
You never
Um,
finish. You just do a little
I
better
beat
each time.
I beat the super secret boss with the secret character that you unlock the first time you play through the game.
Okay.
And I thought, okay, I found all the statues, which is the biggest thing that I was trying to do
Did you
with
find all the
Jake this
kitties?
playthrough. We found all the statues, beat the game, beat the super secret boss, and the 100% achievement never popped. I have 28 of 29 achievements, or it's 29 of 30, something. I was like, what did I miss? And then I realized we did not get all the cats.
Ah,
So now I
Called
think
it early. Called it early. Already.
we're missing like 3 of the cats that you need to find in the game. So now I have to hopefully not hit the new game plus option and just do we would need to go, clean up some loose ends option and go find the 3 cats that are missing. Shouldn't take very long. There's a map that I can follow, and it shows you where all the cats are hidden. Um, but I will get that 100% completion on River City Girls. It will happen. So I did get the super secret ending. The ending changed once you beat the super secret boss, which was nice. It was a funny little twist to the already twist ending of the game.
It was a very clean ending.
Yes, it was.
And the only
But yeah,
reason I know that is because of GDQ. Thank you.
so other than that, the thing I've been playing this week, and I'm surprised, but Super Mega Baseball 3 dropped on Luna this week.
Ooh.
And this has always been a game that I've had my eye on. I've never been like, you know what? I'm willing to give a new baseball game a chance. Um, because like the RBI games that have been out the last few years have not quite been the best baseball games. And outside of that, the only place you can play baseball games on is the PlayStation through the MLB The Show games. Um, but Super Mega Baseball 3 has been on my radar, and I thought, okay, this is the perfect time to check it out. And I have gotten sucked into Super Mega Baseball 3. It is a fantastic simulation baseball game, despite what it looks like, because it has super deformed characters. They have like giant heads. They look like, if you take the spikes off Bowser's shell, there's guys that are that big, and then you're
Oh
playing
no.
against these tiny little girls, and uh, it definitely does not take itself seriously in the visuals department. Um, there's all kinds of stuff happening outside the edges of the baseball field. Inside the baseball field itself, it is a simulation baseball game, which I was not expecting. I was expecting it to be more of an arcade style baseball game just based on the visuals alone. but it is one of the best simulation baseball games that I have played. It is so good. But it cloaks itself in a baseball game where you have players. This is the roster of the team that I'm using, and the team that I'm playing on is called the Herbisaurs. So, and our mascot is a Triceratops.
Nice.
And I'll tell you some of the other team names as well. But my some of the players on my team are Whopper Batsman, Chili Little, Yoink Sacks, Henry Hamster, and Grunt Manley.
Yes.
So uh, it is definitely not a game that takes itself seriously in any way. Let me just pull up this other team here, the Bee Wolves. So uh, their roster includes players like Billy LeBoink, uh, Poke Foster, Benson Rushmore, Tats Balfour, Smack Avery. Uh, it is insane. I'm trying to find. There's one. The guy's name is Junior Young Senior, which I thought was a fantastic name.
It's almost like an oxymoron.
So I love love this game. It is so good. Um, I'm just trying to find some of the other really just funny. Chimo Gaspar, Mashadonga. Like, what are these names? They're it's like you remember those old baseball games on like the NES where it was made by a Japanese developer and they were trying to come up with generic English sounding names and they were always dumb.
Hmm.
I have no
It
problem with that.
that is what this game seems like. um like if you are curious at all, if you like baseball, it is a really good game. I played against a team the other day with a character whose name was Beefcake McStevens, Willie
Okay.
Bacon, Hera O'Wugliams. Like those are not words. So, uh, but then the league has teams like the Sandcats, the Wide Loads, the Platypi, the Moon Stars,
The
the
wide
Hot Corn
loads.
the Hot Corners, whose mascot is an ear of corn, uh, the Freebooters, the Crocodons. So yeah, and then it has a full team editor, so you can go in and create your own teams. You can create your own league without having to like overwrite the one that comes standard. You can create your own. So you could go in and like if you wanted to create like an Oklahoma baseball league, you could go in and create a bunch of teams from Oklahoma. It's got a full logo editor that's not just pick a picture and put some text over it. It lets you move things, resize things, add multiple icons together so you could have like a lion with a crown on its head, um, or a ninja ear of corn. So you could put like a ninja outfit on an ear of corn if you really wanted to.
I,
Uh,
okay.
Terrifying.
Yeah, I would
so
never see it coming.
uh,
But
it's got a full franchise mode where if you want to take control of the entire thing, like give your players contracts, make trades, do all that stuff, or if you just want to play the baseball, you can do a season mode. It's got jump straight into the postseason type thing. So it's a very deep baseball game wrapped around the absolute most absurd, we're not taking ourselves seriously in any way, uh, type of visual style. And it has been a fantastic experience. I have loved every second of this baseball game. So
it sounds like it's a great game for
it
baseball.
it is fantastic. And then you can tweak the controls so that if you want to not have to deal with trying to guess where pitches are, you can just hit a button and it swings the bat and you hit the ball. You can make it a little bit more arcadey if you want, straight on to a full-on simulation. It is the most realistic baseball game you would expect.
I'm in it for the
Only,
names only.
yeah. Uh, um, I was very, very surprised. It was not at all what I was expecting, and I absolutely love it. It is such a good baseball game. So, and I don't know that the developers do any other sports. I'd love to see their take on something like hockey or basketball, um, with this visual style. Uh, the one thing I would like to see added to this game, maybe the next time if we see Super Mega Baseball 4, which I really hope we do, is aside from the team editor, I'd love to see a field editor so that you could create your own stadiums. Because it comes with 12. I think there are 12 different fields that you can play on. But I'd like to be able to add some more. I haven't seen a really good field editor in a baseball game in a very long time. And I don't really know why, but it's been like I can remember playing baseball games in the early 90s on the PC that had crazy field editors, and then once they went to consoles, it was like they were like, we can't put this in, it's too much. People are not going to want to do this, but I'd really love to see it. So, um, cannot recommend Super Mega Baseball 3 enough. I know a couple of friends that I'm definitely going to have them check this out and it does have online play as well. So you can not only play locally, but if you wanted to play with people online, you can do that as well.
Do you know
Which is
what
nice.
other platforms it's on?
I think it's on Xbox, PC, and PlayStation. I don't know that it's on Switch. I'd have to look and see. It seems like the perfect type of game for the Switch. In fact, I'm pulling up the
I mean,
eShop
it
right now
sounds
and
like
see.
it. Definitely
It is
check
on
it
the
out.
Switch. It's $45 on the Switch. I don't know if it has crossplay or anything like that, so I don't know if like Switch players can play with Xbox players or whatever. Um, but yeah, so it looks like it's on whatever you'd want to play it on, and I'm playing it on Luna. I think the only thing it's not on right now is Stadia. So, but that
So
has. Go ahead.
I'm not entirely. I don't know if it's going to be this year or next year, but I know that the MLB the Show license is going. It's either this year or next year.
I
I
do
think
remember.
Sony, I think, is having it. Well, is now developing it for multiple platforms, not
Yeah,
just PlayStation.
I
I
think
think.
one of the requirements for them keeping the MLB license was that the game had to be multi-platform this time.
Yeah,
Uh,
I think I saw that like last year or something. So it'll be interesting to see, a Sony developer, actually developing a game for
yeah,
multiple platforms. But I think it's needed.
yeah, because that has been a Sony first party. That is developed. I think it's Sony Santa Monica that develops that game. Um,
Yeah,
but yeah, so it would be a Sony first party studio developing a game for, and I think they did say it was coming to both Xbox and possibly Switch. So that'll be
yeah.
really interesting.
Uh, so yeah, we're starting to get to where, because I know with Microsoft's acquisitions and stuff, we're starting to see these first party uh, developers and publishers starting to bring their
Hmm.
IPs to other platforms, or thanks to Fortnite and Smash Brothers,
Yeah,
starting to see a lot of crossover, which is awesome to see.
it's a thing that I thought the video game industry wouldn't for a while that they would never get to, and now it seems like all of those walls are they have to drop at this point.
It's a tidal wave at this point.
So yeah. So that's it for me. I think here we can take a quick break. We'll come back and hit a couple of quick news stories, and then we will get on to predictions. On this episode of the Procedurally Generated Show, Ethan revisits a NewGrounds classic. Cole does more Destiny, and Tony plays some baseball. We look back on our predictions from last year and look forward to the. Hold on. Let me try that again. That's that. On this episode of the Procedurally Generated Show, Ethan revisits NewGrounds classic. Really?
Three.
Really? Let's try this again. So we're still at the beginning of the year. Not a ton of stuff is happening, but there have been a couple of interesting stories that I just wanted to bring up. The first is that apparently, you know how one of the things that we've seen on the Switch is with a lot of indie developers, they get their game out, and then a couple of weeks later, they drop the price like by 90% just to get it on the, on sale page to get more eyes on it.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And it's been a thing. A lot of developers have mentioned that they do exactly that, and you'll see games that are on the eShop for like a penny. Um, and apparently, Nintendo is not very excited about that idea. And over the last week or so, one developer, the developer of Death Squared, I think their name is Studio SNG, on a Reddit thread, they posted some stuff that validated that exact speculation. And also, they mentioned that there are new rules now on the eShop that says no game can drop below $1.99.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The one exception to that is free to play games like Fortnite or Dauntless or Rocket League, where they are, free to play titles. You can no longer, according to them on the eShop, put your game at a significant sale to get more eyes on it, which I think is strange. But
I mean that's how I got iodine. Aodine. It's like a
Anodyne, is that what it is?
yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like AYNO, like something like that.
Yeah.
I,
You use the
I got it
broom
on
to
sale.
do stuff.
I got it for. I haven't played it, but I got it. I've got an addiction to buying games. But
Don't we all?
Who
the
doesn't?
they're shiny. They're just fun to look at.
Great on
But
the
yeah,
shelf.
I think I got it for like 10 cents or something on the eShop.
Mhm.
Jeez.
There was
Yeah,
like some
there have been
95% sell or something.
there have been a few games I've picked up on that with that exact type of thing.
So it works. I mean, Nintendo's not making a lot of money off that, and that's probably why they're not too thrilled about it.
I'm hoping that doesn't have anything to do on like Steam as well. That's just like Nintendo.
Yeah, this is just a Nintendo thing.
Okay.
I was gonna
So
say
I
that game
got
was like $10 on Steam.
yeah, my Steam library is much more. It's much larger than my.
Darn those humble bundles.
Yeah. Yeah, I think everybody's Steam library has sort of gotten out of control.
I've got games I've never played that I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Don't
Well,
we
that
all on
and
Steam?
like my Steam library is getting that way. My Epic Games library is like I have 53 like 80 games or something and
Oh
I
yeah,
have
I have
no
to check
idea
what
what
today's free game
They,
is.
they just
it's
yeah,
still
they just keep
Jurassic.
giving
No,
they
not
give away
Jurassic World.
games.
Yeah. Uh
You sure it's still
Epic
Jurassic World?
No, it's not. It's some turn-based strategy like space game. I don't remember what
Oh,
it is.
okay, I gotta see now.
Next week is Battlefront 2.
Crying
So,
Suns.
yeah.
So let me
What?
go ahead and grab that game.
Yeah, next week is Battlefront 2, which is an EA game. So,
Ooh, there's also a demo. Don't want the demo when I can get the full game for
so I
free.
don't really know what Nintendo's reasoning behind this is, and I don't know why they have such an aversion to people dropping the price of the game significantly uh, to get more eyes on it. Um, but you have noticed, or at least I have, that when you look at the deals section on the eShop, it's a large number of pages. Uh, and I guess maybe that's going to change now, or we'll just see developers dropping their game to $1.99, hoping that that still gives them that bump they're looking for.
No, and that's I kind of see that on the PlayStation Store a little bit, like as far as like some of the same titles that are on the eShop, they kind of have the same sales on the PlayStation Store. Or if you're Kemco, uh,
Oh gosh,
they it seems like they're always 80% off or something.
yeah, yeah. Well, I think the biggest thing is Kimco. They've put out some decent RPGs, but they all feel very generic and feel very much the same.
Yeah, it's like, well, this one's going to be about a crystal, and this one's going to be about a stone.
Yeah, it's not a crystal.
Yeah,
And
Uh,
this
princess
one's
got
about a
kidnapped.
rock.
Oh
yeah,
no, the queen got captured.
they have become the masters of the RPG Maker style game.
Yeah,
There have been a couple that I really, really like As Divine Hearts, what I thought was a fantastic game.
And
But a lot
they've
of
got
them just hit that generic feel.
the thing that always catches my eye is you can tell it's a Kemco
Hmm.
title even without looking at any of the artwork. If you just look at the names, you can tell it's a Kemco title.
Yeah. Yeah, I've found myself doing that exact thing, looking, skimming through the eShop, and I'm like, who made that game? Oh, that is very much a Kimco title. Uh, so, and 90% of the time, I'm right. So,
Revenant Saga. That sounds like a really cool game. Oh, yep.
so if you are a fan of, 15 to 20 hour semi-generic JRPGs, Kimco is your developer, which is crazy because they put out some really big games back on like the NES and the Game Boy. So I mean
Yeah.
they've fallen quite a bit from those days. But I can remember some big titles from them in the past.
I mean, they're obviously still doing very well with all these sales and stuff. I mean, they produce like 60 titles a year, it seems like, but
Yeah,
and
it
they're always
seems like
80% off.
yeah every week it seems like there's a new Kimco game out.
Yeah.
So, but they'll only be able to drop to $1.99 now. So,
I
which I
kind of
think is
wonder if that's
fine.
just,
I think that's a decent that's still that, it's only $2. I can check that game out for $2. No big deal.
I kind of wonder if Nintendo's kind of pushing back just based on some kind of like algorithm or whatever their percentage of the sell is, and maybe if it's too cheap and they're not making enough off of it, they're kind of adverse to that.
It could also be this thing where they're trying to fight against that race to the bottom type thing like we saw on mobile where
Well, yeah,
people became really averse to actually paying money for a game on a mobile device. And if it wasn't
Google
free, they
Play.
weren't going to check it out.
Google Play is very much it. I mean, there's like one gem out of like 1,000 titles,
Mhm.
so yeah, I can see trying to avoid that.
Yeah. So we'll see. And I imagine we'll see some developers talking about this policy change over the next few weeks. So it'll be interesting. And then the other one, before we get to the predictions, I had to mention this because I think we're all fans of Scott Pilgrim.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
that game was really good, and it's coming out again this year, January 14th. I think it's dropping on digital stores. Uh, and then a physical version of the game is going up for sale by Limited Run Games on January 15th.
Pre-order.
I love
Pre-order,
that
yeah,
game.
pre-order. I think uh, I may be the only one on the on the crew who hasn't bought a game from Limited Run Games, and it's not because I don't want to. It's just that the sales always seem to show up when I don't have any money. Uh,
I've run into that quite a few times.
but the standard edition of the game from Limited Run Games will have the game, a clamshell retro box, soundtrack, and a sticker sheet, a folded over map of the overworld, and then there's also a super special edition, or the Suckers edition, is what we've come to call it over the years. That will have all of that plus some extra stuff, including a hard case, like pop-up scene from the game that has working lights and music from the soundtrack. Uh, so you know that that's going to be set up in some dioramas in people's houses. Uh, and the I can't see which price this is, but there's a price listed of $54.99. I'm imagining that's probably the
That's the metal one.
okay, yeah, that's the Super Suckers edition.
No, no.
No, is that the regular one?
There's three editions.
Oh, okay.
There's the standard, which is like $40. The middle one, which you're talking about. The Super Sucker edition is 150.
Oh, wow.
but it has like it's not an attaché case, but it's got like a case that's got like lights and stuff and
With a lot
several
of stuff.
posters. Yeah, it's a pretty big bundle.
Yeah, it looks
I
like a
was
little
looking
stage.
Yeah, I was looking at it while you were on break, and
Okay.
Well, it's
I
like
was
that Monkey Island version or collection they had a couple of months or about a month ago. That thing was like $250.
Wow.
I really wanted it. I resisted.
yeah, I think it's a good value for the price, but it's a little steep for me.
Yeah, I think the game's going to be on Ubisoft Plus, which is where I'm going to play it.
I said I've already got it on the Xbox 360. So I mean, I
Same.
played it. It's a must-have for the collectors. You know,
Yeah.
I've got a couple of Scott Pilgrim comics that it'll sit next to.
Like this is the perfect kind of game for now that I've just finished River City Girls. If Battletoads becomes a game that Jake and I don't want to play, Scott Pilgrim is like the perfect kind of follow-up to River City Girls.
It's an easy to understand beat 'em up.
Yeah.
And Scott's in the Sonic Adventure pose on the cover.
Wow.
So, all right. Yes, that will be available for pre-order on January 15th. It will be available digitally on consoles and PC on January 14th.
Cool.
So, before we move to predictions, Ethan, is there any GDQ talk we want to get in before?
Let's see. Right now, their money that they've brought in so far, because it's live as we're recording this on the final day, 2,200,000, and they're about to hit 240,000.
Nice.
2,240,000. There we go.
What was their goal? Do you remember?
It's just they want to break. I think they want to break 2.5 million.
Okay.
They don't really set a goal. They're just like happy to get whatever they can, really. But
okay, I thought they always had like a goal.
They have a goal, but they don't have a goal.
Okay,
that's the best way to phrase that.
Okay.
Did you by chance get to see the blanket?
They showed the picture of the blanket. I don't know if they actually have the blanket or not.
Gotcha. But you did get to see that through that block.
Yeah, I clipped it and sent it to Tony.
Yeah,
awesome.
It made my wife very happy to see
For sure.
To see them talking about that.
Yeah, I'll need to see that clip as well.
Yes, they said Heather Miller donated the blanket.
Yeah, and she was confused. She's like, I thought that was coming from you guys. If you don't know Jeff, by the way, we had sort of roped my wife into hand quilting a blanket for us.
I commissioned a blanket.
Yeah, Ethan purchased and we donated, but somehow all of the stuff got put under her name instead of ours.
Yeah, it's like my account for submitting it, and I had to put like who made the blanket, and then they just said that she's the one giving it to them. It's like guys, I paid for this blanket.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah. So, yeah, no, I don't think it's that big a deal.
It's really not. I'm just
yeah.
What will be weird is like if they do the whoever wins it, like it's like if I'm the one that wins it, that's gonna be like I paid for it twice.
that's exactly what I was thinking.
Wouldn't that be funny?
It really would be.
So, all right. Let's move into our predictions, which is what we're here for, our predictions for 2002. But before we do that, Ethan, very quickly, we have to go through our predictions for last year and see how well we did.
Do we have to? It was pretty bad.
All of 2020 was bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so, well, you're up first, though.
I don't remember last year's predictions.
I have the list right here.
Oh, good.
I was gonna say,
Handy dandy.
there was a
list.
Destiny one on there.
Yes, your first prediction was that Jeff Keighley will redo the Game Awards to either be a proper award show or just a year-end games reveal show.
Yeah, that didn't happen.
They're still trying to mix the two.
Calling you out, Jeff. Not you, Jeff. Other Jeff. Keeley.
the other
Just
one.
pick one. Either make it a like end of the year E3 or make it an actual Game Awards show. But they're still trying to do both. It's mostly an end of the year E3, but occasionally they try it. They do mention an award here or there.
It seemed like there was more like world premieres than actual
Well,
we won this
yeah,
award.
there was
Yeah.
definitely a lot more of those, and then it's like, all right, now the next award, and people are like, yeah, we don't care about that. What's the next game that you're going to show off? It's
And I kind of think I wonder just how much just having like the other conventions and stuff canceled throughout the year kind of
that's
allowed them to get so many like world premiere type things.
Yeah.
that had to be a major influence on that this year.
I really, really hope E3 is back in some capacity this year, and it may not be. We may not be to a point where E3 can happen again this year. But I
Digital
think a lot of
E3.
I would be fine with that. Like if every company just does a Nintendo style direct, but it's all that same week, that would be great.
Well, and that's like I think I mean Microsoft is really, and especially now that they own Bethesda, Microsoft would really only they'd be the only ones really doing a conference. I would
Yeah,
imagine.
yeah, because Sony doesn't do anymore.
And
They
Nintendo,
Nintendo stopped.
well, Nintendo does their thing, but they still maintain a presence.
Yeah, they're still
Yeah,
there. They still show games off, but they just don't do
the
the press
over
conference.
yeah. And then
So
Bethesda going into Microsoft, and but I mean, it would be interesting to see what form it takes this year.
as long as Devolver Digital still does whatever Devolver Digital does, I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like their stuff is always funny every year.
Yeah,
So your second prediction, Ethan.
Oh no.
With the Super Nintendo PlayStation prototype going to auction, I predict either Nintendo or Sony will have reps there and will be the one to buy
Uh,
it.
I can neither confirm nor deny that they had reps trying to buy that. And I'm
But
pretty sure they didn't buy it.
They did not. No, I
It's
don't
like in
remember who
someone's
it was.
private collection, I think.
Yeah. So, your third prediction. Final Fantasy VII Remake will not let Aerith come back after the one scene. Well, we don't know yet.
Is not confirmed because we didn't have that much coverage in that part of the game.
Yeah, you wouldn't get a point for that. You're 0 for 3 right now.
Just barely left Midgar.
It's true. So
Midgar.
so much filler, not much like meaningful content in the first.
Oh, speaking of Final Fantasy VII, GDQ had a Final Fantasy VII PC run, not remake. And it was the IDOS version, or the IDOS port. There we go.
yeah.
Was it IDOS? Whatever. Yeah. And that was like a 2.5 hour run. And like they never even went into Tifa's bar. It's like as soon as you're in that slums, they walk back a screen, then like walk past some guards. That game is incredibly broken. It's hilarious.
Number 4. Bungie will announce the final DLC expansion for Destiny 2 or will announce Destiny 3.
Nope.
Oh man, we got more DLC on the way. We're on another expansion. Destiny 3 is nowhere in sight.
Destiny 2 still has a lot of life left in it.
We're on a 10-year plan with this one.
Yeah.
Now that Bungie's not tied to Activision anymore, they're probably gonna try to.
They're gonna milk it
Stay
for all
with
it's
it.
worth. Yeah, I'm fine with that.
And yeah, I'm perfectly okay with that.
It's like I kind of feel like they may have been pressured to do Destiny 2 a little earlier than they wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Because of
definitely.
the thing with Activision. Now that it's like, hey, we're making enough money off this. We don't need to do another like big title
They made
anytime soon.
they made enough money to get themselves away from Activision and to buy the rights to Destiny from them as well. So it's like, all right.
Bungie is very good at doing that. They're very good at getting a giant company to partner with them and then they make a bunch of money, and then they go and they do their own thing, and they've got a good run so far.
Yeah. Cole's played enough Destiny to make sure the game doesn't die.
Yeah, and Ethan's spent enough on it that they're definitely going to be coming out with.
Gosh.
Yeah,
I've spent enough money to buy that game like 20 times over.
I think Ethan funded the latest expansion.
Probably.
And then your fifth and final prediction: a new Metal Gear game will be announced, not involving pachinko or patchy slot.
Cut me deep, Shrek.
That one's
I
right.
knew Kojima was leaving, but I was hoping Konami would do something with the title.
Konami, didn't they announce a new Metal Gear?
No. There was the rumor that Metal Gear Solid Original was going to get a remake, and everyone called foul on the guy making that rumor because he said it was going to show during the Game Awards, and then it didn't show at the Game Awards.
I think you get points for Survive.
That didn't come out this year, or that last year, or whatever.
Yeah, that was 2018, I think.
That was like when right when Kojima left. That game was like, "Hey guys, we got this game."
Oh, nice.
Has it been 3 years since that came? Wow.
I think it has been, yeah.
Yeah.
Like two or 3 years. But I think one thing that we can, I think, all agree on is that Konami just does not like their fans.
I think they
just care about money, really.
They make way more money with the pachinko stuff and gambling than they do video games. So.
They love people talking about stuff. They just don't want to make video games about the stuff anymore.
Yeah.
And if you know how the Yakuza stuff is involved on pachinko parlors and all that, then it's like Konami's Yakuza, but not the good Yakuza.
Yeah, they're not like a dragon. They're
they're like the ones that are like you don't want to mess with them.
yeah.
So, all right, I would say you went 0 for 5.
Indeed, clean sweep.
So, all right, now it's my turn.
All right.
The first one I really, really thought was going to happen this year, and that was that Microsoft and Nintendo would announce a partnership in some form, most likely to bring Game Pass to Switch.
You got Bedrock Edition.
Yeah.
And Ori and the Blind Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not. There's no point there. I really did think that Game Pass would come to the Switch.
Well, didn't Phil Spencer say that he was aggressively pursuing, like, trying to get Game Pass on?
He wants Game Pass on everything. I think the biggest problem with that, there's some, Nintendo not liking the subscription service or something. There was something I remember hearing about that was kind of holding it up.
Could be that they can't really control it or something.
Yeah.
It's too much power.
So it still could happen at some point. I think Microsoft would really love for it to happen. But
that'd be a lot of money for them. That's a huge market that they're obviously not getting from their standalone consoles.
It would. The thing would be, how does Nintendo monetize it and be able to benefit from that other than, I don't know, I guess it could potentially get more people buying Switches if Game Pass is on the system.
Because, yeah, I mean, they could get the sales of the Switch. I mean, they might run into some issues of not really seeing much in the way like game sales, but because of just the nature of Game Pass, but
yeah,
still get the hardware.
We shall see, I suppose. Number 2, GameCube games will finally launch on the Switch, not as an app like the SNES or NES Online, but actual individual games, and they'd be priced around $20. Mario Sunshine doesn't count, unfortunately.
I know it doesn't.
What about Crystal Chronicles? The Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles?
No.
Yeah, that's a remake of the game, so it's not just a straight port of the game. I thought they would just be dropping like the GameCube files onto the Switch at a $20 price point.
I was trying to help you there.
Yeah, If I could find a loophole, I would. But I was thinking very much that you would just see Luigi's Mansion or Mario Sunshine or Pikmin or Metroid
Wind
Prime.
Waker.
Yeah, you would just see the GameCube version of the game drop on the Switch, and it didn't happen. So no point there. Number three, subscription services will dominate gaming this year. They'll continue to be made more attractive. Nintendo will jump on the bandwagon with more recent titles being added to Switch Online.
Eh,
If I'd have stopped after they'd be made more attractive, I might say yes. But Nintendo definitely did not. Uh, because they barely added anything to Switch Online.
they
So
added hardly anything. Yes,
we got the Donkey Kong Country games, and
I'm actually happy to have all three of those on there.
those were about the biggest titles that came to Switch Online this year.
I mean, they dropped Animal Crossing, and they really didn't have to do anything else for the rest of the year.
Pretty much. Um, Animal Crossing definitely. I think Animal Crossing performed well above what they were expecting.
So it's kind of a yay pandemic.
And I'm still going to say no. We didn't want that.
Yeah, I mean,
So number four, Stadia will be dead.
very close.
The Stadia is gaining momentum. They're not dead. Uh,
Not
I'm
dead
seeing
yet.
I'm seeing a lot more people being like, you know what? I tried Stadia for the first time and it surprised me. I've seen that reaction a lot more this year than I expected to. Even for me, I'm playing a ton on Stadia. Uh, my over the last month and a half, my gaming has been dominated by Stadia and Luna. So, uh, if nothing else, I've kept subscription services and streaming services alive.
Yeah.
So,
I just I've kind of discussed this in the past with people. My I have a hard time really putting faith in Google
mhm.
as far as their like services that they provide, because they typically
They dropped
they're,
stuff
they're
way too often.
yeah, and like even if it's something that's like wildly successful, they'll still find some way to be like, oh well, maybe we can make it even more successful with a new app. Uh, Google Music and YouTube Music come to mind. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, I think Luna has a very uh, interesting foundation, and I kind of like the game publishers as kind of like a channel of sorts. Like that's an interesting concept.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue with that's going to be the pricing thing. Like the price for base Luna is cool. It's 5.99 a month. I think that's a good starting spot for that. You may see that once it comes out of beta, you may see it jump up to probably 9.99 a month, which I think is also it is a pretty decent price for a what is really a Netflix style service for video games. Um,
Yeah,
I think if you start adding a lot of channels at 15.99 on top of that, which is what Ubisoft is priced, you're going to start to see maybe that's not the ideal place. You want to see those expansions being around the $5, $6. I think that's the place that those subscriptions could see people adding them to Luna more than like 15.99. Because if I have to get EA, Ubisoft, Activision all at $15.99,
yeah.
that's a hard sell for a lot of people.
On top of just the service itself.
Yeah, I do like that style. I think that could work. They just have to find that sweet spot for pricing.
Yeah, like if I could for $10 a month get anything and everything that's Square Enix, I'd be down with that.
Yeah. Like
Same.
if they bundle Luna in with Prime and that's just part of your Prime subscription, that would I think maybe give them a little leeway for some of those things.
Yeah.
We'll see. I like Luna. I like the service. I've really enjoyed playing the games and having it anywhere thanks to the Fire Stick because it's a super cheap alternative to some of the other things because you can get a $15 Fire Stick, plug it into your TV, and any Bluetooth controller you have will work. The Luna controller is better by far um, because of the wireless Wi-Fi stuff that it has. Uh, so Amazon just really has to find that perfect pricing structure for it to really be successful.
I definitely see between Amazon and Google, I can definitely see Amazon putting more of a focus on Luna than what I see Amazon putting more resources behind Luna than I see Google putting behind Stadia at this point.
Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, uh, but we'll find out. I like, Stadia is very much going with that Microsoft style of pricing, where you can buy the games, but you can also get the subscription if you want. Um,
Yeah,
there may be some need for Amazon to do that. Maybe they bundle all of their gaming stuff in to Luna in some fashion. I don't know.
Prime
I don't know.
members get a exclusive discount on or an upgrade.
Yeah,
Yeah.
something. Uh, and then they really need to get the Twitch streaming built into the service itself.
Please.
Uh, Google has that
absolutely.
working with Stadia, and you can just click a button and you're streaming straight to YouTube. And there's no additional software you need. There's nothing. It is very easy to set up. It is very easy to get going, and your computer's not doing all of that processing. So your stream is super nice and super smooth. Uh, I have used it a little bit on Stadia. So that's one thing that Amazon has to get working with Luna.
Yeah. And Nintendo.
Yes, well, yeah.
Of course.
Figure out a way to get Luna working on the Switch now.
Yeah.
Uh, so, all right. Well, let's move on to this year's predictions, and I figure we'll just round robin this,
Okay.
um, and we'll each do one prediction, one, then two, then three, then four, and five. Each of us have five predictions for the year. So let's see how it goes. Jeff, we'll go ahead and start with you. What is your first prediction for 2021?
Well, the first one that I've got is I, I know Sony's kind of billing 2021 as being a big year for the PlayStation 5. They've got quite a few first party titles that are allegedly going to be coming in throughout the year, but I think they're going to be hit with a few delays. Like I don't see Horizon Forbidden West or God of War Ragnarok actually hitting this year. So I'm seeing them getting pushed out of the 2021 uh, release calendar.
Hmm. I think that is fairly likely for some of the bigger titles. I think we're still, you know, we're going to see the effects of
The
we're going to see
pandemic
the
and stuff.
yeah, we're going to see the effects of the pandemic still impacting video game development. And perfectly, frankly, I'm okay with games getting pushed back. I'd rather they get pushed back than have to go through what we went through with Cyberpunk again.
Mm.
Yeah, that monstrosity of a disaster.
Yeah. So I think that's a good prediction, even for other big name titles outside of
Yeah.
maybe just Sony stuff. So, all right. Well, Cole, what about you?
Since it's still fresh on everyone's mind, I'm gonna have to say that Stadia is not going to be listening to our podcast, and that they're gonna fade away. They're gonna follow Ouya, Sega Channel, stuff like that. They're just gonna it's gonna it's tanking. It's gonna go down.
Rip Sega Channel. Never had in my area, but my aunt had it in Oklahoma City. Or no, she had it in Tulsa.
Yep.
Okay.
You hate to see it, but that's what I'm thinking.
I think I guess we'll see. I think people predicted the death of Stadia very early, and it's managed to last longer than they thought it was going to.
It's a slow
What
death.
I say? Didn't you say? Wasn't one of those people you?
Yeah,
Shh.
it was. I was very much on the this is not going to be a thing uh, early on, mainly because they didn't have the library. I thought nobody was going to be interested in this type of thing. The library is huge now, and
Oh
they're
yeah.
getting big name titles on day one. So um, that are working better than current generation consoles in some cases. So
Yeah.
we'll see. Stadia could go either way for me. Like it could be a thing and it could die. I've bought some games on Stadia. I'd be very sad to see Stadia go. Um, I think if it's not Stadia or Amazon that figure it out, somebody will figure out game streaming, and
Yeah.
it will be the thing at some point.
They've got what they need. It's just I don't think it's being well received as least as well as it should be.
So
That's I think a lot of it is they've really struggled in their first like 6 months to a year.
mhm.
Like
Oh,
just kind of the messaging and
Yeah.
and who are they marketing towards at that time was the other problem. I think.
yeah,
Well, early on I think they were trying to get that, I really hate the terms, but the hardcore gaming market, and that's not who those types of services are really
yeah,
for. Those are a benefit to people who have Xboxes and gaming PCs and stuff. But it's really for the people more like me who can't afford $1,000, $1,500 gaming rigs, but still want to be able to play these games. It's your more casual gamers that those types of services are going to be built on, and then the more intense gaming crowd is going to latch onto that maybe a little slower. I think they needed to flip it, and you're right, they were really awful with the messaging early on.
it's and
So
I think they probably, as far as like streaming services, I think streaming services definitely benefited from the various worldwide lockdowns and stuff where
mhm.
can't just go out and buy physical games, or it's, or even like with the new platforms that are launching and people can't get their hands on them.
Well, and I did see a lot of people with when Cyberpunk came out. Well, first of all, Google was just handing out Stadia if you bought Cyberpunk on Stadia. They were like, "Here, just take a controller, take a Chromecast. We don't care. Just here, have them all. We don't need them anymore. You take them." But then also there was a huge update that you had to download day one. It was like an 85 gig update or something just to play the game. And then a lot of people were like, "Well, you know what? I don't need to do that over here. I can buy the game, click a button, and I'm playing, and it works."
Yeah,
Um, and so the pandemic plus all of the issues that Cyberpunk had, I think have helped benefit Stadia a little bit.
That's fair.
But and other systems have launched poorly. The Xbox One launched horribly. The uh, Switch got started a little slow. The 3DS got started really slowly, and we saw what happened to it once it started to gain some momentum, and it became the biggest selling handheld that we've ever seen. So
Which
um, it is
I remember.
possible to overcome a bad launch, but you have to work really hard to do it.
Yeah, I remember when the Vita launched, and it actually looked like it might actually be a contender, and then Sony just really dropped the ball on that,
Yeah,
and Nintendo was like, "All right, well,
we'll just
this is
take
our
that ball
market."
and we'll run with it.
That's there's a reason we've been so successful for nearly 3 decades in this handheld space.
Yeah. So, well, all right. Well, Ethan, what is your first prediction for 2021?
Mutant. A new mutant. I'll get words right one of these days. Hold on a sec. A new
Take 3.
Mutant Muds will be announced.
I hope that is a prediction that comes true.
I hope so too. We're overdue for one.
Like, there's a lot of stuff that Atui has been working on.
And
Treasure Knots has been in development for a long time. They're working on a remake or a upgraded port of that Chicken Wiggle, which is
Yeah.
now called Hatch Tales. Um, but I'd love to see a new Mutant Mudds game.
Same. Very much so.
Would you want them to stick with the sort of pixelated style? Do you want to see them move into 3D hand-drawn stuff? What would you like for a new Mutant Mudds?
I'm good with the current style on there. If they want to change it up, more power to them on that. Just don't go too crazy with it. Kind of. I think right now they're 12-bit on the style, right?
Yeah, it's sort of between NES and Super Nintendo.
So I guess we need to go 24-bit.
Okay.
Or
Not
no,
sure
we don't
exactly
need
what
to.
that'll
But
be.
I mean, if he wanted to,
Yeah.
if he can figure it out,
I'd be okay with them like super HD sprite work.
as long as it's sprite work and not like hand-drawn assets done into a sprite type.
Yeah.
Like modern day NIS characters. I don't like the modern day ones. It's like, give me that old sprite work back. That's all I want.
Cranberry?
Do what?
Sprite cranberry?
Ooh, that sounds good.
Crossover.
All right. My first prediction of the year. Sony will combine PlayStation Now into PlayStation Plus, giving PlayStation owners a Game Pass style subscription on the PlayStation.
Gosh, that would be nice. Or do you mean that like in a would it be part of your PlayStation membership, or would that be like similar to Xbox Ultimate?
It would be your PlayStation Plus subscription would change into a Game
Xbox
Pass
Ultimate.
Ultimate style subscription
Yep.
service. Where you get the free games every month with PlayStation Plus, but then you also have access to a bunch of titles that you can download or stream to the PlayStation, your PC. Maybe they'll add Vita support, who knows?
Vita's
That kind
dead
of
to them,
thing.
dude.
Well, yeah, that's true.
It was dead after the first 3 months of it being out.
I remember wanting to get a PlayStation Vita for remote play, and then they just added it onto like the mobile and computer and everything, and I was like, oh, okay, so this is actually I'm glad I didn't spend that money.
It's a fantastic platform. It just Sony. They have difficulty supporting things.
But I think Game Pass has become far too successful to ignore that style of service for your customers. And I think Sony realizes that, and they're going to take PlayStation Now, which works. It's okay. It needs some improvement, but it for the most part it works. And they're just going to combine that with PlayStation Plus into one subscription.
I feel like it needs to happen. There's a growing conversation that I've been seeing through like Twitter and Facebook and just various groups that there's starting to be too much crossover of what's free on PlayStation Plus and then what they add to PlayStation Now.
Mm-hmm.
So having them be two separate services, but like offering similar or the exact same games, there's a lot of redundancy there.
Yeah. So I think 2021 will be the year we get that for the PS5, and it will only be for the PS5. You won't be able to have that service on PS4.
Give us your own name for it.
PlayStation Play.
PlayStation Play. I like it.
So
PS Play
PS Play.
PSP.
There you go.
rolls off the tongue.
Bringing it back.
Bringing the PSP back. All right, Jeff. What is your second prediction for the year?
Well, I went with the Switch Pro. I know an enhanced Switch has kind of been talked about for about a year now, but I think with the launches of the PS5 and the Xbox Series platforms, I think Nintendo will start talking about a more powerful Switch about halfway through the year, maybe around like May or June. And I think it would fit pretty well. Maybe not necessarily as a replacement of the hybrid Switch, but kind of allowing them to have 3 different tiers, between the Switch Lite, the standard Switch, and then like a beefed up platform, allowing them to kind of hit multiple price points and stay at least make it easier for developers to still bring some of these bigger titles. I was going to say like Cyberpunk, but they can't even get it really running on the platforms that are out now. But just kind of the newer games coming out for the newer platforms and allowing them to make it easier for the developers to not have to cut so much stuff out.
Yeah. I think if they want to continue to get those third-party ports, they're going to have to beef the Switch up in some way. I mean, Panic Button can only do so much magic.
Yeah.
Now, is the normal Switch, is that 4K?
No.
So Switch Pro would have to have it.
Yeah.
Would definitely be nice.
Yeah.
Like 4K resolution, like maybe have increase the internal storage, by a good portion.
Or at least give you the ability to run games off of an external hard drive.
SSD.
Does the Switch support solid state drives currently?
Like, I know of.
External.
I don't know. Actually,
because I know, I mean, it has all the hookups and stuff that you would think that it might be able to.
I want to say you can hook up a drive at least to store, but you can't play from it. Maybe. I don't know. That would be a question I'd need to ask Micah. He'd probably know. So, all right. Well, Cole, what about you? What is your second prediction for the year?
Let's go with Skyrim will get a remaster for the PlayStation 5, Xbox X, Xbox S.
That's not a prediction. That's just going to happen. Bethesda's going to put that game on everything.
It's on the microwave.
I'm trying to get some. Yeah. No, I can. I've been playing. I've been playing Doom on my PlayStation controller lately, since Doom's on everything. So that's not a fair prediction because
no, I think it is
guaranteed point.
It is a guaranteed point, but I think it is a solid prediction.
Gotta have those freebies.
Yeah, I'll take one. Thank you.
So, yeah, I think we could see it announced at E3 or what would be E3, and then it'll be out that week. So,
yeah,
I think that's a good, safe bet that we will see Skyrim on the PS5 and the Xbox. So, all right. Well, Ethan, what about you? What is prediction number 2 for you?
I'm just hopeful for a new Sonic the Hedgehog game to be announced.
Are we talking Sonic Mania 2?
I mean anything official from Sega.
Do you want Sonic Team to do it, or do you want the Mania team to do it?
Anything official from Sega.
Okay.
I want another 3D one.
Anything official from Sega.
Okay, Sonic 2006 2 re-release.
Oh no.
Sonic
We're gonna get
2002 4K remake. All right, I'll take it.
We're gonna get the Sonic
2020.
the Hedgehog movie, the game,
the director's cut, yeah, Snyder cut.
and you can play as either version of Sonic.
That's beautiful.
I mean, I'd probably be okay with that.
All right. Well, my second prediction is, despite the fact that we are getting new consoles from Microsoft and Sony, Nintendo will still outsell them both.
That's
I think the Switch is far too has been far too successful. It was the best-selling console last year. I think some of that can be benefited to the fact that people knew new consoles from Microsoft and Sony were coming. But I think Nintendo has found something with the Switch that has really resonated with gamers. And I think whether we get a new one, a new Switch, a Switch Pro, whatever, I think at the end of the year, Nintendo will have sold more consoles than the other two.
At GameCube 720.
That sounds more like a Microsoft naming
Yeah,
scheme.
their
But yeah,
their mid-generation Xbox Series will be the Xbox Series 720.
that's not confusing at all.
It's based off of the Microsoft way of naming things, like Windows 95, 96, 2000, 7,
X,
8,
S,
XP.
1,
Yeah,
X,
XP.
X.
The Xbox Series Me, that's what we're getting.
The Millennium Edition.
I forgot about that one.
All right, Jeff, what about you? Number 3 for you.
Well, I think the Cyberpunk 2077 thing is kind of it's a blessing and a curse. I think it has shifted a lot of talk about how like Sony and Microsoft handle refunds as far as digital goods. Microsoft has more of a lenient window for refunds, but still there's a lot of issues with it. And
Mhm.
Sony, uh, I mean, they wear that badge of trying to hide that they're not anti-consumer very well, but their refund policy for PlayStation Store purchases is just appalling.
Yeah,
So
Nintendo's is just as bad.
that's I see companies like really going back to the drawing board on their refund policies, and I think Cyberpunk 2077 really
Mhm.
brought to light just how oh, I purchased a game on the PlayStation Store. I downloaded it, but I did not play it. Oh, sorry, you downloaded it.
Yeah.
Um, so for in the case of like Sony, it's very much if you purchase a title and you've done absolutely nothing with it outside of purchasing it, and it's within 14 days, you can get a refund. But if you even so much as start downloading the game, they they will not do a refund unless you do such a massive, just the wonderful job that was CD Projekt Red and with Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
So I think Sony and Microsoft will kind of go back to the drawing board and start to make things like as of right now. I think Steam probably has the best system as
Mhm.
far as like refunds. Like you can play I don't know how many hours of a game and return it for a full refund. And I think as far as like the console side of gaming, I think they'll start adopting a lot more of those policies to be more accepting of you know the either just overall bad games or people who have a tendency to buy too many things that are 80% off and you're never going to touch them but they're so cheap, might as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we'll see this year.
I think that would be a really good thing for both of them to do, and Nintendo as well. Nintendo's is like even worse than Sony's. So,
Well,
like
I mean,
if you pre-order a game on the Switch, you can get a refund up to a week before launch, and if it's within a week of the launch date, sorry, you are buying that game.
man, yeah, that's I I definitely think that I mean just way too big of a spotlight was put on these refund policies because of Cyberpunk. Um, and it kind of like very much like how crossplay kind of started becoming more and more accepted across the board was that such a huge amount of just of the majority of gamers, were up in arms about it, and cross-play is now becoming so much more accepted across the board as far as consoles and streaming services and stuff. And I think a similar thing is going to happen with these refund policies.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, I think it's time for that stuff to happen. So, all right, Cole, what about you? What is number 3 for you this year?
All right, so this is going to be a Destiny prediction.
Okay.
I've got that the new rocket launcher, the rare drop from the new raid that's going on right now.
Mhm.
I mean, they've got another raid coming out later this year, but
Okay.
the one concerning this current raid is that Ethan is actually going to get the rocket launcher before I do, with much less clears on it.
That's how it works.
I mean,
Just
we got
Ethan. That's all you gotta do.
we got Caleb into Destiny, and he got 1,000 voices the first run he got on it.
Wow.
Yeah,
I still need to get that.
spoils, man. Just gotta run raids. It's not a huge prediction, but
Does the cheese still exist on that one?
yep.
Good.
All right. All right, well, Ethan, what about you? What is your third prediction of the year?
Mine is also Destiny 2 related.
Okay.
Imagine that. Ba, 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 ba. I predict there will still be no Sparrow Racing League.
What? Is this like a thing that's supposed to have happened, or is it just something that you guys want to happen?
Yes.
One thing. More so. It's not something that's. It's something that the community is always like, yeah, we want it, and then
They've done the event twice, and that was only in Destiny 1.
Mm-hmm. So you want like a separate like section where you can go and you can do Sparrow races?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was a whole thing. It was a great way to get armor and level up immediately. It was kind of abusive, but
Yeah.
it's like it was one of those things where I thought I sucked at certain events, and it was like, no, Ethan's just really good at Sparrow racing.
I'm gonna tell you the same thing I told everybody in the raid that was talking about it. You got your Sparrow Racing League for that the entire time that the Wrath of the Machine raid was active, or not the Wrath. I'm sorry. Forgive me.
Haven't done that one either.
The Scourge of the Past raid. You got your Sparrow Racing League versus a giant servitor that catches you on fire.
I know, and I did it.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
And I got the Sparrow to prove it.
Yes, you do.
The one Sparrow that's like 10 miles faster than all the others for no reason, with the wrong mileage put on it.
I'm gonna agree with your prediction on this one, because with it being for 2021, yeah, no, they've got 2 more years of gameplay laid out. They've got their roadmap for it. Sparrow Racing Leagues always ends up being the thing at the end of the game. So I don't think until we get closer to Destiny 3, we're gonna have that Sparrow Racing League.
Okay.
We'll probably get Griffball first.
Oh gosh, I'm not even mad about that. I'll take it.
Yeah.
My third prediction, we've already talked about this stuff a bunch, but I think this will finally be the year that streaming services really start to come into their own. I think a lot of people are seeing the benefits of them. There's still a lot of hurdles left, especially in the United States, to cover, because there's a lot of places where internet is just still really bad. Data caps are a thing that shouldn't exist, but do, and that's one of the biggest hurdles that people have to being able to use these streaming services, because it does take a lot of data. But I think Stadia will exist, will be thriving, and that this is the year that we really see streaming services start to be taken seriously. There was a point that nobody thought Netflix would be a thing that would really take off, and you've got streaming services everywhere for video. I think gaming we're getting to that point where the technology makes sense for gaming streaming services.
Tony, I'm gonna make you a T-shirt, and we're gonna see how well it ages. Statement does. It's
Okay.
gonna say 2021, the year of Stadia.
All right. I will proudly wear that shirt too. So, like, I seriously was one of the biggest detractors of Stadia early on, and then they've come a long way in a year from where they started. So we'll see. We'll see.
You're
Uh,
gonna be, you're gonna be that guy with the first edition Stadia, and you're like, yeah, I remember.
I don't actually have a Chromecast or a Stadia controller. I actually, ironically, I play Stadia mostly with my Luna controller. So
That's okay. I play when I'm streaming my Xbox to PC, I just use my PlayStation controller also.
I was the other day, I was playing Doom 2016 on Stadia on my Fire tablet with a Luna controller.
That just goes to show that you can play Doom on every device though.
It's true. It's true. So, all right. Well, Jeff, what about you? What is your fourth prediction?
Well, it's kind of counter with what you you just said. I actually think that Google will start to pull back from Stadia this year. Um, I think as you know, hopefully, knock on wood, if the pandemic starts to get under control,
Hmm.
I think we'll start seeing streaming services as far as like Stadia is concerned. I think Google will start to kind of pull back from it just due to Google just doesn't really like supporting their stuff for too long unless it's
Yeah.
YouTube. Um, and I, I kind of like what you were talking about. Data caps are definitely, so many ISPs have like a 1 terabyte data cap,
Hmm.
uh, which like adds up pretty,
Very
uh,
quickly.
yeah, very very quickly. I think one thing that makes me a little iffy as far as Luna goes, and again, it was something that was kind of brought up earlier uh, in the show, is just that 5.99, the entry price for Luna, sounds great. Uh, but the thing that worries me is that very first bullet point right underneath it is the unlimited playtime, um, which I see like after they get out of beta and just kind of it'll be very interesting to see where their actual pricing lines up. But I know that over the years, like Prime has kind of increased
Hmm.
steadily in price. Um, so just kind of wondering just like
The
where
same with
those
like Netflix
tiers.
as well.
Yeah, like Netflix. I think Hulu's seen pricing increases, and uh, just the part of it is also just kind of my bias towards physical. I like owning the physical product to see the artwork, and I was very saddened when manuals went away. Um, I've had to get used to that,
Hmm.
um, but I just think I think Luna has a better chance of lasting longer just due to Amazon and Twitch.
Hmm.
Uh, that just how just ingrained Twitch is becoming is with Prime.
Yeah.
Um, so I just have this gut feeling that Google will start to pull back on Stadia sometime this year. Um, and like I said, it's got kind of I do see a market for streaming. I do I, I see it as a great entry point for gamers. Just a lot like how the Wii was a very great entry point where you don't have to really get everything. You don't have to spend a whole lot of money to get into gaming.
Yeah.
I think that's the a market that uh, game streaming can do very well. It, but for someone like me, I just I don't. It's just not really a market that I gravitate towards. It's a cool concept, but I'm very iffy as far as like the pricing and the tier structures, and
Yeah, that's understandable.
so yeah.
All right. Well, I think it could go either way with Stadia, really, and I do think Luna may be the one that benefits the most, but um, it's going to be an interesting year for sure.
Yeah.
Um, all right, Cole. What about you? What is your fourth prediction?
Gonna go with uh no, I can't do that one. Dang, that's I gotta change my number 5. Because that wouldn't be a 2021 prediction. That'd be a 2020. No, that wouldn't be
Two.
a yeah. Um, I guess I'll do my other one. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. He's been denied so many times in the past. I'm thinking 2021's not the year of Stadia. It's the year of Waluigi. So we're gonna see Waluigi get his debut as a non-support trophy.
I have said for a very long time that the last character that will be in added to the Smash roster will be Waluigi.
I think the last character that's gonna be on there is Miyamoto himself.
He'll be a me fighter.
I mean, he's already the assist trophy from the Brain Age, right? Brain Age Academy.
No, that is somebody else.
Okay.
So
So yeah,
Yeah.
Waluigi and Smash. We got
They-
Sephiroth.
they-
We got Steve.
Yeah.
We got Isabel. I mean, come on.
I think
I think
that's
yeah.
a fantastic prediction. I think it will happen, and I think he will be the last character announced. So we'll see. Ethan, what about you? Your fourth prediction for the year?
Nintendo will have more of their classic games, like what they did with the Mario collection, the
Okay.
Mario 3D collection, where it was,
3D All Stars.
yeah, that thing. I'm predicting they'll do some more things like that, and of course the sales will be for those limited time windows.
Oh god, I hope that part of the prediction does not come true. That has to stop.
So what I'm basically saying is we might see something like a Zelda collection of
Okay.
like Majora's Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, and whatever else. I'm betting
Zelda 2.
we might see something like the 3D Zelda 3D collection or something on there.
Okay. Yeah, I really, really hope that limited time thing does not come to pass, though. Like that has to stop.
It
Like physical.
while it sucks that it's a thing, it helps get their. It's like here's all your cells that are going to come through. You
Yeah.
predict that's the only time you're going to need that push, and then it's like whatever happens after that, not your problem.
Like I'm perfectly fine with them doing the limited run of the physical version of it, but don't do that for the eShop. There's no reason for it.
Yeah, that would be a lot better. Just like if people want the digital version, leave that out in the shop forever. Otherwise, physical versions, put those as limited time event things. That would make way more sense.
All right. I definitely think Nintendo will start to do more classic stuff. I think they have a huge library
They
that they
can
could
easily
do.
ride that nostalgia factor
Yeah,
to the bank
absolutely.
and back, and there you go.
Well, my number four prediction is that I don't think we will see a word from Nintendo about Metroid Prime 4 until Tokyo Game Show at the earliest.
Metroid Prime 4 forever.
That game was shown off. It was in development for a year or so, and then they completely scrapped everything. There's been some turmoil with the studio. They've had some high level or high profile departures, um, and they've had some other job openings appear recently. I think Metroid Prime 4 is still a long way off.
The baby.
Another thing that's kind of up in the air is if there will be a TGS.
That's true too. Um,
It may go all virtual, but
yeah.
but yeah.
So, yeah, I think September is the earliest you'd see anything, and it would be a teaser at best.
Was,
So,
was Platinum working on I can't remember who the original studio was that was working on Prime 4. But I know like Nintendo ended up bringing it back under
Yeah,
their.
and Retro's doing it again. So,
I used to be so good at remembering all this stuff, and now it's getting harder.
all right. So, but yeah, I think Prime 4 still a long way off. I think we won't see
Do you think
much.
it'll still be a Switch title if it's any longer
If
than
it
2 years?
if we don't hear anything this year, I think it will be pushed to whatever the next system is. I think it could end up being a launch title for the next system. And I guess that would mean that's another, because we haven't seen a Metroid game on Switch at all yet, have we? Well, no. Well, yeah, I guess that's true because uh, Metroid 2 was 3DS.
We already said that Nintendo Land doesn't count.
Yeah. So we could see another Nintendo system go by without a Metroid game on it.
That's sad to think about.
So
Nintendo Land. God, that
Oh, I thought you were
conversation.
saying. I thought you were saying that another system going by without a Metroid game was sad. But then I realized you were talking about Nintendo Land.
so well, all right. Well, Jeff, what is your final prediction for 2021?
Well, my final one, it actually, looking at it, it pretty much falls in line with my first prediction. I had Final Fantasy 16 will have a release date announcement for March of 2022. I know that there's been like some like uh, murmurings that it might actually come out in 2021, but I don't see that happening.
Do you think we're that close to the release of 16?
Um, well, that's I've been kind of thinking about it. 15 came out in I think 2016, so it's been a really big chunk of time since the last like main title, and of
That's
course
true.
they've been supporting like Final Fantasy 14 for forever. But I think we're pretty close. They showed off a lot more than I would have anticipated at that one PS5 event in like September, some
Mm-hmm.
around September. And I know that they've got some big like unveiling thing that they're going to be doing in March of this year. Uh, but I don't see it as this year. I think it's a 2022 title, but
Okay.
um, who knows? I mean, Square Enix is also very bad with dates as well. So
That they are.
it could be a 2027 title. Who knows?
Could pull a Kingdom Hearts 3 and it not come out for another 10 years.
Yeah, that's very very likely.
And instead of getting Final Fantasy 16 this year, we'll get Final Fantasy 13 remake.
Oh God, no.
13-2.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts.
13.2.2. We're going to get a sequel to 13.2 that takes
Hmm.
place between 13.2 and 13.3.
It's not funny,
And
man.
and the main
Like,
character
it's like
only wears a tutu.
yeah. That's some Kingdom Hearts numbering right there.
You don't
All
joke
right,
about
Cole.
that around here.
Yeah.
What is your fifth prediction of the year?
So hopefully this one will make Ethan happy. I'm predicting that a PG, the procedurally generated Destiny 2 raid will happen. I'm thinking probably Vault of Glass time. It'll be 6 members of the procedurally generated community running probably their first raid, if not raid. All 6 of us going in, taking out. I guess that'll be Atheon if it's the Vault of Glass, since that's this year. Tony, your first raid, that sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing. So I think it's doable. I think there's enough of us. I think it's going to happen this year.
Okay. Let's see what happens. I'd be down. I've played enough Destiny 2 recently that I can justify being like, okay, let's do this.
You played enough to know that we need to level you up.
Yeah, I do need to level up. That is true. So
It's my
but
final.
I can commit to a raid at some point this year.
Cool.
All right. Well, Ethan, what about you? What is your last prediction? 2021.
A new Persona game will not be announced.
You don't think?
Yeah, I think it actually will. This is my way of saying, prove me wrong.
Okay. So you're
Not that.
using a little bit of reverse psychology on
Yeah,
that.
it's like if it doesn't happen, that's great because that means they have more time to work on SMT6 or to work on a new Persona project that they're not announcing yet.
Yeah.
So that way,
Tokyo Mirage Sessions 2.
that's not Persona.
Well, it's close enough.
No,
it's got Persona characters in it.
No, just no.
Okay. Sorry. Forget I said it.
Win.
All right. Well, then, my last prediction of the year is the one I have to do it. I have to. I do it every year. It's got to happen eventually. It's my one that I really, really, really want to happen, and is that we will finally get a Drill Dozer sequel. I want it to happen. I love that first Drill Dozer game. I want a new one on Switch. It's got to happen.
Yeah.
I actually had to Google what Drill Dozer was because I never even heard of it.
It is a silly little platformer made by Game Freak. So if they can stop making Pokemon for 5 minutes, we can get a Drill Dozer game.
Not happening. It's too much. It's too much Pokemon money.
I know, but I want it to happen. I want a new Drill Dozer game. I'm never going to get a Kid Icarus game, so I've got to ask for Drill Dozer.
You have a better chance of getting a new WarioWare game.
I'd be okay with that too. I want a new Drill Dozer, a new Kid Icarus, or a new Wario Land game. One of those has to happen. Got to. I've spoken. It needs to happen. So.
You should. I think you should have went the Ethan route on it. You should have been like, they will not announce a Drill Dozer game.
They will announce that they have canceled a Drill Dozer game, which means one was at least in development.
Congratulations, you at least got one for 2022.
So, all right, well, that is going to be it for the show. This is a long one, so I think we will go ahead and we will end it there. Thank you very much, Jeff, for joining us this week for the prediction show. How can people find out a little bit more about you and Just One More Level?
Either primarily through Facebook, just searching for Just One More Level, the number one. It's definitely the easiest way to get to it, just through Facebook. And then obviously through the website itself, justonemorelevel.com. I do various things with Twitch and YouTube with the J1ML tag. But yeah, I primarily through Facebook.
I'm hoping that this year we'll see a little bit. We'll see a few more of these collaborations between the two of us. Just One More Level and Procedurally Generated. We'll see what the year brings. I know we've got some ideas. Hopefully, we can get some of this stuff going, and you'll see these names together.
Here's to a much better 2021.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Cole, for being here.
Thanks for having me. Good luck, Ethan.
And Ethan, thank you for being here as well.
See everyone next week.
If you want to reach out to us, we have new ways to do so. You can email us at procedurallygeneratedent@gmail.com. If you like what we do, you can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/pgent. Patreon supporters get the video version of the podcast a day early. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/progenint. Check out our YouTube channel, and we still have that famous Facebook group where you can interact with us on a daily basis as well.